Hey everyone, my name is Spencer Bauke, and I am here with the solution to week 37 of our Power BI Workout Wednesday challenges. In this week, we are going to be creating my first Deneb visual. If you're not familiar with Deneb, you can go to this website, deneb-viz.github.io. And there you're going to find a lot of information about Deneb, what it is, and how to use it, templates, resources, documentation. And for those who don't know, Deneb is essentially a coded visualization software that's JSON based that allows you to customize your visuals in a lot of ways that Power BI Desktop does not allow you to do. So if you just scroll through some of the things on the website, you can see that you can add a Deneb visual to your Power BI Desktop. It is Microsoft certified, so you don't have to worry about that or worry about it breaking on a version update, etc., like you would with a non-certified visual. And so you can gain a decent understanding of how to use it from the website. What I'm going to do, though, is I am going to show you with our challenge how to make a few of the visuals that I created. So let's just go to our challenge here real quick. And you can see I created 3 bar charts. Now, I think this was a pretty good place to start because I learned a lot of things. But they're also a common chart type. And, we get to start with the foundations, right? We're not trying to run just yet. We are definitely in the crawl phase and the crawl, walk, run phases here. But it made crawling really fun. So let's just check out how I made these bar charts. So let me open Power BI Desktop. Drag this in here. So these are the 3 bar charts that I created. You can see when I click on them, select them, that it is in fact the Deneb visual. So if you haven't downloaded the Deneb visual, you're going to want to click on the ellipses here in the visualizations pane. Go and find Deneb. We already have it, so no need to download it again for us, but for those who don't have it, you need to download it. You can see the blue check mark. And you don't just have to pay $8, I think, to get that, so that's cool. Okay, so once you've brought in the Deneb visual, let's click on it, see what happens. So bring in this Deneb visual, and you're like, what the heck is going on? This doesn't look like any of the other Power BI visuals I've created. It is okay. What we need to do is we need to drag some fields into here that we're going to use with this Deneb visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in region. I'm going to drag in profit margin, because those are the fields I want to use to create these visualizations. So I just drag those in here. Now what we can do is let's go to the top right and let's click edit. So what that's going to do is that's actually going to open up this little pop-up that allows us to go and search through some of the coding or some of the templates that are already available for you. So in this case, we are just trying to make a simple bar chart, but they do have some groups, a scatter plot, some more complicated stuff here. But really, for this first one, I'm just going to use a template because I just kind of want to understand, hey, what the heck's going on here? So I'm going to select the category. As my category, my measure being my profit margin, so this is going to be my X and Y axis. I'm going to click Create. And you can see that this pane in your top right is your preview pane. On the left-hand side is your actual code. And the bottom right is your data. So if you look here, this is actually the code that was created from populating that template. And this was the bar chart that was created. Now, we're just going to say for now, if we go back and kind of bring this down, I am using mouse right now, so that's not fun. So this is in fact our first bar chart. You can see that's how we created it. So like I said, this is not how we're going to create most of the charts. I did want to, however, show you that you can just do a template. So we're going to say we're going to add title and say this is number 1 bar chart. Oh. So that is our first bar chart. Hooray, we are a third of the way there. So now it gets just a little bit more complicated, which is okay. What we're going to do is we are going to put our Deneb in there, our visual, and we're going to click Edit. Oh, I'm sorry, we did not put our fields in here. Apologies. We do need to put our region and our profit margin. Now I'm going to click Edit. So now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to click Empty. Okay. So what this does is this just gives me the bare bones code that I need to create a visual. Now, I'm not going to go all the way into teaching the basics of Deneb here, but what I will say is that there are a few different things that you should know. It's JSON based. It's also based upon all the code that you identify in the coding. You can alter a lot of different things, but there are some base things that you want to set forth before you create your visual. And let me show you what I'm talking about here really quick. So when we brought in that visual originally, you could see that there was a lot of code created. Well, when we bring in this code, this is really the basic coding for a bar chart. And let me see, there might be something a little bit wrong here. Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, so so what's going on here is we've actually we've made a bar chart here, and it looks like it's not actually liking something that I'm doing here. Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Profit margin. But anyway, this is there you go. All right, sorry. Had to fix some of my squiggle lines here. Okay. So now what we have, right, is we have the basics of Deneb. We have our data identified. So literally, what data are we using? Our type of mark. So specifying the mark is going to be important in this instance. We chose bar, but you can also identify line, right? Obviously, it doesn't make as much sense. But you can see some of the different options on that GitHub page. And then what you're going to do is you're going to encode some of the different parts of the visual. So in this case, we're going to do our Y and our X axis. And so you get to choose what field you want, and then you have to identify what type of data that region field is here. In this case, it's nominal, so it's it's categorical: north, south, east, west, or central, east, southwest. Sorry. And our x-axis is going to be our profit margin, and that is quantitative. So you identify those things here to help Deneb create the visual that you want to create. So, like I said earlier, just a second ago, that you can specify a bunch of different things in this code, right? And you just have to know the syntax. So one of the things that we want to do is we actually, in our bar chart, if we go back, I'm just going to actually exit this really quick. I'm going to resize it. Just, oops. Let's see here. Resize this really quick, and you can actually see that the bar chart that we created from the template is the same as the one that we created here with our little snippet of code here. So if we go back to our solution, you're going to see that what we want to create is a sorted bar chart. All right, so let's go back. Let's edit this. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to sort the y-axis, right? We want to sort the y-axis. We don't want to sort the x-axis. We want to sort the y-axis. So we want to sort the region by the profit margin. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to add another item in here in the y-axis, and we're actually going to call this sort. Okay. So when we type this in, we're adding another, essentially, not layer, but another call out in this code of what we want to specify. And so what we're going to specify here is we're going to specify the field that we are sorting. In that case, we are sorting profit margin. And we want to sort by what order we would like that in. We would like it to be descending. Are in there. Okay, and I keep hitting this little wrench thing because it does fix your code for you. So what we added in here is right here. We added a sort command, and then that's saying, what do we sort by? Well, we sort by the profit margin field, and we want it descending. And we're done. That is literally how we want to see our code. That is how we want the bar chart to render. So now we can go up. Let's go to general. Let's add our title. And let's just say number 2 bar chart. Not just number bar chart, number 2 bar chart. All right. Last, but certainly not least, is our little diagonal lines here and our formatted axis. So let's dive into both of those things. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a little Control-C, a little Control-V, and I'm going to copy and paste our previous bar chart. I'm going to change the title though, so it doesn't get confusing. So we're looking at our number 3 bar chart here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just, because I copy and paste, I'm actually just going to utilize the code that we just had. So let's go back really quick to our Deneb page. One of the things in here is pattern fills. Pattern fills gives you some ideas on things that you can change up in how bar charts populate. You can see this is dashed or striped and then outlined. You can also see bolded. You can see different colors on the inside versus the outside, and then they give you a bunch of options here that you can use in your patterns on your bar chart, which is super cool. So we're actually going to be using one of those, and we're going to use the one that is indicated, I think, in this first one. I believe this is just diagonal stripe number 1. So we're going to be using this. And what you can see here is in the code under mark, right? So in our code that we just saw, we're identifying data set, then we're identifying the mark, the type, which is the bar, and then what we are identifying here is the fill of that mark, right? And so that's where this is going to come into play. I'm actually just going to copy this really quick. And then I'm going to go back to my code. I'm going to say, hey, I see that mark has been identified as a bar. I also want to specify what kind of fill that we have in that mark. And you can see that I specified diagonal stripe 1. So you can see now that the stripes are in fact diagonal. So it's really simple to kind of, customize those little things, which is really, really cool. Now what I want to do is I need to format this axis. So one thing that you do need to know is that when you come and format your axis, you are going to want to specify what you are formatting, which is your axis. And then you're going to hit them with some of these brackets again. And you're going to say, okay, what am I formatting here? So what you can do is you can say format. And then in order to get the percentage that we want, we can do quotes, and we're going to do 0.0%. All right, so now you see that my axis is now formatted as I would like it. Again, really simple. It's just knowing the commands or knowing what is even available, both to format and how to call it. So in this case, axis or mark or field or anything like that. And then what are the options to put in here? Like, unless you went to that site, you would kind of, you wouldn't know that you could call, fill, and populate diagonal stripes, right? So it's just some of it's, knowing what you can do and can't do. One last thing that I do think is cool here is I'm actually just, this isn't in the challenge, but I do want to format the angle of my, and rotate my labels. I don't really, but I'm just showing you how to. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pop in label angle. So this dictates what angle you're at. And in this case, this is a 90-degree angle. You can also do 180, right? So it kind of like flips them upside down. Or we could do 0 just to specify that we actually have no rotation. But if you did want a rotation, maybe at like a 45-degree angle, I know that's actually pretty common. You can do that here as well. I'm going to put it back to 0. Back to my report. And now we have all 3 of our bar charts as we discussed. This first one was from the template. This was from our basic building block snippet. And then this was editing that snippet. So look, there's a ton of different things, as you can see with the things that Megan Longoria and Carrie Kolosko and Shannon Lindsay and all these amazing folks are doing with Deneb. You could really take this to the moon if you wanted to. What I am doing is I'm learning the tool. I'm hoping that you can come and learn with me. Hopefully this was helpful in just getting you started and saying, hey, what's Deneb? How do I make something out of this? And setting you up for future success and learning about the tool. So hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Thank you so much for participating in this challenge, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you.